everybody. Thank you so much for having me. My name is Maggie Cavallo, and I'm feeling really fortunate to be here with you guys all today, and to be a part of what Take Magazine has called an exhibition that is essential for this moment, and one that celebrates all things female and all things gender, which I can't promise that I'm going to do, but I am very honored to be here. It isn't often that I'm invited to perform in this way, but it's got me thinking a lot about the way that invitations sort of act as a great catalyst to make new work. And I think a lot of artists sort of get that. And I'm here among such a really incredible group of artists, of contemporary artists, many of whom I know and I cherish. Del Hamilton and Anuel Vasquez Rodriguez and Joanna Tam, Sandrine Schaefer, and countless others that I've had the pleasure of knowing and working with in the past. And equally as important, I've been introduced to, and by way of mostly just doing some research and looking at the artist list, a lot of artists that I didn't know. And there's a lot of really incredible work in here today. So to show alongside them is a real honor, and to see everybody is also such a treat, right? Like, this is a great social experience. We kind of need parties and we need reasons to get together. And so it's considering all of those benefits, exactly, that I'm finding myself particularly challenged, because honestly, I have real questions about the effectiveness of pop-ups and about the way that they use time or don't, and what they're really able to accomplish. And so I find myself wondering a lot, does the value of a pop-up for participating artists equal that to organizers and curators? Can a temporary exhibition accomplish the sort of socio-political tasks that we've said that it will, that we've sort of assigned to the exhibition, to a political exhibition? And yet here I am right now, living my truth in public, right? I wouldn't be here doing this if this exhibition didn't exist. And I'm gonna be able to put this on my resume, right? My exhibition history is developing. I'm getting some great documentation that I'm gonna use to make more work, and that I'm gonna put on my website. So this affiliation is going to bolster my artistic identity. It's going to really help me to pass as an artist, which some of you know I find challenging. And who knows, right? I could even sell something tonight, right? There's potential. There's lots of potential. And that's how it works, right? It's somewhere between sort of, in a critical perspective, somewhere between sort of capitalism and like a Ponzi scheme. Like, artists and co-curators get to put an established gallery on their CV. It is not a joke to put Kayafas on your CV. It's a real thing, right? This is an incredible site and space. The gallerist, in Arlette's case, is able to continue a long-standing tradition of making space for emerging artists and underrepresented artists. And oftentimes, organizers and curators have a sort of authorship that they get to own in the long run. And so, again, I'm interested in time, right? How does this work? And there's nothing wrong with having that type of cultural capital if you're backing it up, right? So my concern is, when an exhibition, what happens if an exhibition, in its description, and more importantly in its documentation, ends up a symbol for the future of work that we didn't really do, right? And for some of you guys who I've been lucky enough to have some conversations with, this is important to me, the symbolic versus the actual. And it isn't because I haven't popped up myself. I have popped up. I will pop up again. I'm also interested in popping off. You know what I mean? It's like a little bit of both. And I know, I've been thinking a lot of this performance is like, oh, Maggie, you're such a hater. I mean, it's not that pop-up exhibitions don't work. They do in some way. I mean, you can't have 50 incredible contemporary artists whose work, for the most part, I should say, really, I think, are great forms of transgression and activism and representation. You can't have 50 artists like that in a room and not have something happen. A new friendship, a new collaboration, a conflict, right? So as you can see here, gals, I'm conflicted. Big surprise. So it's with that in mind that what I'm hoping we can do here today, together, and it'll be pretty quick, I won't keep you for a long time, is a little bit of research together, a little participatory research. So that if you'll be so generous to participate, we'll see if you really want to produce a little data and to find out who is in the room and how our perspectives line up with the goals as outlined in this exhibition. So what I'd like to do is I'm going to read over the text for the show. I think it's nice for us to share that experience with each other and look at it closely, listen to it closely. And then I'm going to ask you 6 sets of questions that I designed, mostly off of that exhibition description, a little bit also based on my own interests, because I'd like to find out some things about all of us here. So I'm going to read these questions. If you agree with what I said, the answer's true for you, you're going to raise your left hand. It's the easiest way we can do it. If it's false, or you don't agree, raise your right hand, right? So right hand, true, yes. Left hand, false. No. Got it. Are those instructions clear? Oh my God, you guys laugh. You know what's going to happen? Left is yes. Left is yes. Right is no. Left is yes. Right is no. I really want to be able to participate and vote with you, but it's actually really important to me, but I messed up and I don't have a lectern. So I want to say I'm happy to tell you all of my answers afterward. I could read through them, but I won't want to keep you that long. So here's a quick note on participation before I read the description. I think some of you know, and many of you don't. There's like a lot of people here I don't know. I think about participation very, very deeply. And I'm aware of my role up here as controller of this moment to a certain degree, depending on how much you want to interrupt or not. I guess what I'm saying is, I am implicated here in my critique more, if not as much as anybody else. And today I'm making a decision to sort of co-produce some research with you guys, and it's something that I'm pretty much taking authorship for, and I'm aware of that. And I just want to say that. I think I'm just doing my best to be critically reflexive, site-specifically. Doing my best. I don't have a lot of practice in this format, but maybe more soon. So one more thing before we go. If you don't want to participate, that's fine. But I'm going to ask you to maybe step to the side a little bit, just so I know that's not going to work in here. So if you don't want to participate, that's fine. It will affect our data a little bit. But so left hand is yes. Right hand is no. Hands down just means it's not applicable to you or you don't want to answer. If you don't like the question, put both hands up, because you might not. And there's one other thing for God bless Arlette and Sylvie, of course, for organizing this huge show and for hosting it. This is actually going to be a double-blind study. And Arlette and Sylvie, if you'd be so willing, I'm going to ask you to keep your eyes closed during this survey. You can vote. You can vote if you'd like to. But my hope is, I just don't want anyone feeling nervous about telling the truth in front of everyone who made the work possible. But I promise you, Arlette and Sylvie, where you are, I promise you, I am going to give you the opportunity after this to learn things about this exhibition that you have never even considered before. So, I can't make you shut your eyes, but if you will, that will work for me. Thank you, Arlette. I knew you would. Arlette's always down for a good time. Sound okay? Are we oriented? Great. Stand Up, a woman group exhibition at Gallery Kayafas. We are proud to present Stand Up, an all-women group exhibition curated by a group of powerful female and gender non-conforming artists, educators, and curators living and working in Boston. This much-needed presentation confronts our current socio-political time, injustices, and misrepresentation of women artists in contemporary art practices and the art market. This exhibition scrutinizes themes of feminism, queerness, identity, gender, race, social politics, and justice. This presentation focuses on showing the work of marginalized artists of different class, race, gender identity, religion, cultural ethics, and immigration status. This exhibition features video, painting, sculpture, performance, photography, and works on paper by artists associated with building a new social structure and/or highlighting an obscured experience. The works peer into personal memories, ancestral connections, and a collective past. The works examine the relationship between power and privilege, or lack thereof, and use historical references to expand on broader truths, while underscoring debates around social politics, identity, and representation through contemporary art practices. The gallery installation highlights the disproportionate presence of people of color, LGBTQ, and immigrants whose access and visibility to the art market and in the institutional conversation in the visibility in the art market and in the institutional conversations has been truncated. Our aim is to bolster access, inclusivity, equality, equity, education, and awareness of disenfranchised communities of color, LGBTQ, immigrants, and refugees in the United States in a time filled with hate and persecution. Women. We welcome anyone who identifies as cisgender, genderqueer, trans women, femmes, and non-binary people of all cultures and experience. I really want to be able to participate and vote with you, but it's actually really important to me, but I messed up and I don't have a lectern. So I want to say I'm happy to tell you all of my answers afterward. I could read through them, but I won't want it to be that long. So here's a quick note on participation before I read the description. I think some of you know, and many of you don't. There's like a lot of people here I don't know. I think about participation very, very deeply, and I'm aware of my role up here as controller of this moment to a certain degree, depending on how much you want to interrupt or not. I guess what I'm saying is, I am implicated here in my critique more, if not as much as anybody else. And today I'm making a decision to sort of co-produce some research with you guys, and it's something that I'm pretty much taking authorship for, and I'm aware of that. And I just want to say that. I think I'm just doing my best to be critically reflexive, site-specifically. Doing my best. I don't have a lot of practice in this format, but maybe more soon. So one more thing before we go. If you don't want to participate, that's fine. But I'm going to ask you to maybe step to the side a little bit, just so I know that's not going to work in here. So if you don't want to participate, that's fine. It will affect our data a little bit. But so left hand is yes. Right hand is no. Hands down just means it's not applicable to you or you don't want to answer. If you don't like the question, put both hands up, because you might not. And there's one other thing. God bless Arlette and Sylvie, of course, for organizing this huge show, and for hosting it. This is actually going to be a double-blind study, and Arlette and Sylvie, if you'd be so willing, I'm going to ask you to keep your eyes closed during this survey. You can vote. You can vote if you'd like to, but my hope is I just don't want anyone feeling nervous about telling the truth in front of everyone who made the work possible. But I promise you, Arlette and Sylvie, where you are, I promise you, I am going to give you the opportunity after this to learn things about this exhibition that you have never even considered before. So, I can't make you shut your eyes, but if you will, that will work for me. Thank you, Arlette. I knew you would. Arlette's always down for a good time. Does this sound okay? Are we oriented? Great. Stand Up, a woman group exhibition at Gallery Kayafas. We are proud to present Stand Up, an all-women group exhibition curated by a group of powerful female and gender non-conforming artists, educators, and curators living and working in Boston. This much-needed presentation confronts our current socio-political time, injustices, and misrepresentation of women artists in contemporary art practices and the art market. This exhibition scrutinizes themes of feminism, queerness, identity, gender, race, social politics, and justice. This presentation focuses on showing the work of marginalized artists of different class, race, gender identity, religion, cultural ethics, and immigration status. This exhibition features video, painting, sculpture, performance, photography, and works on paper by artists associated with building a new social structure and/or highlighting an obscured experience. The works peer into personal memories, ancestral connections, and a collective past. The works examine the relationship between power and privilege, or lack thereof, and use historical references to expand on broader truths, while underscoring debates around social politics, identity, and representation through contemporary art practices. The gallery installation highlights the disproportionate presence of people of color, LGBTQ, and immigrants whose access and visibility to the art market and in the institutional conversation in the visibility in the art market and in the institutional conversations has been truncated. Our aim is to bolster access, inclusivity, equality, equity, education, and awareness of disenfranchised communities of color, LGBTQ, immigrants, and refugees in the United States in a time filled with hate and persecution. Women. We welcome anyone who identifies as cisgender, genderqueer, trans women, femmes, and non-binary people of all cultures and experience. Okay, ready for some survey questions? Left is? Yes. Right is? Got it. Eyes closed. Yeah, okay, cool, let's go. Okay. I am a woman. I am not a woman. I am an exhibiting artist in this show. I'm a professional curator, or I curate professionally. You can also be an artist and do that, right? I am a serious collector. I'm a collector that spends $5,000 or more a year. Wow. I would love to get your contact information. I feel represented in this exhibition. I am privileged. I am privileged based on my race. I am privileged based on my ethnicity. I am privileged based on my class. I am privileged based on my wealth. I am privileged based on my gender. I am privileged based on my sexuality. I am privileged based on my body. I am privileged based on my nationality. I believe all privileges are equal. I am marginalized. I am marginalized based on my race. I am marginalized based on my ethnicity. I am marginalized based on my class. I am marginalized based on my gender. I am marginalized based on my sexuality. I am marginalized based on my body. I am marginalized based on my nationality. I believe all experiences of being marginalized are equal. Okay, can I get a quick hand of anybody who identifies as an artist, just so I know who's voting? Anybody who's an artist in here, raise your hands. You don't have to be exhibiting this show. Okay, great, thank you. This one's for you. I have been asked to perform for free in the last 6 months. It's a bummer. I have been asked to manage the drop-off, installation, and pickup of my work in a professional exhibition in the last 6 months. I mean professional, like in a gallery, not in your basement. Even though I made a career off of that, but I was paid for my most recent exhibition or performance. My most recent exhibition or performance, paid or unpaid, was worth the investment of time and labor that I put into it. I deserve better. I can trust a curator to perform labor on my behalf. Curators in my community are advocates for artists and their work. Shout out how. Tell me how. This show, who said it? This show, tell me.
I just think this shows doing it.
Shows application.
Yeah.
Great. Curators in my community regularly advocate for me or my colleagues to be paid for my work. Right. Anybody here who curates professionally or regularly in any way? Can you just raise your hand if you're a curator or an organizer, you organize arts programming? Raise your hands high. Okay, this one's for you. I've asked an artist to perform for free in the last 6 months. I've paid an artist to perform in the last 6 months. I've asked artists to manage the drop-off installation and pick-up of their work in a professional exhibition in the last 6 months. Artists leave the opportunities I offer them, paid or unpaid, feeling like the experience was worth it. It's hard to know. You should ask for more feedback. I should do better. Artists can trust me to perform labor on their behalf. Artists can trust me to listen. Artists can trust me to advocate to get them paid. This one's, we're going back to the general audience, to everyone here. The intended audience of this exhibition is people like me. The intended audience of this exhibition is present here tonight. Raise those hands high. Gotta get this, oh, I have to get this on camera. I plan on purchasing a work that I've seen here tonight. Raise them high. Raise them very high. Everybody got those pictures? They're purchasing this.
Why can I open my eyes now?
Arlette, I will tell you, that bit of documentation I'm going to give you as a freebie. I swear to God. Great. We are in the final stretch here. Is everybody doing okay? Okay. I really appreciate you doing this with me. Honestly, it's a great opportunity. Similar to how you just gave me this answer, we have to work through this pretty quickly, but I'm going to ask you every so often to shout out the reason that you've answered the way that you have. This exhibition illustrates the power of women. Agree? This exhibition confronts our current socio-political time. If you've answered yes, tell me why.
Because it's visible.
Is visibility confrontation? That's a question I have. This exhibition confronts injustice. Right, left. Tell me why.
Well, if you're defining visibility as not confrontation, then the answer would be no. It depends on how you define it.
I'm not defining it exactly. It's a question I'm asking, my friend. Is visibility confrontation? Is the illustration of an idea the same as engagement?
No.
Thank you. Del says no. This exhibition confronts injustice. I'm really interested in this verb, right? Confront. These are hard to answer. These ones, when I was practicing it myself, my hands were down because I wasn't totally. I think this absolutely illustrates the power of women. This exhibition confronts misrepresentations of women artists and contemporary art practices and the art market. Yes? No? Yes? Tell me why, Randy.
Yeah, especially with the performance included. Is performance included as part of the
Absolutely. I hope so. I'm putting it on my resume. So especially because of the performance, you see it confronting misrepresentations of women and artists and contemporary art practices in the art market. All right, and these are the ones that are coming from the exhibition description. This exhibition bolsters access. Bolster. To bolster something, you know, when the shed is falling down and you bolster it up with like a piece of wood, it's bolstering access. Yeah, and you can always, if your hands are down, you don't know, right? Okay, I'm just making sure. This exhibition bolsters access to or for disenfranchised communities of color, LGBTQ, immigrants, and refugees in the United States. This exhibition bolsters inclusivity of disenfranchised communities of color, LGBTQ, immigrants, and refugees in the United States. Inclusivity. This exhibition bolsters equality of or for disenfranchised communities of color, LGBTQ, immigrants, and refugees in the United States. Anyone want to shout out how? That's about equality. This exhibition bolsters education of or for or about disenfranchised communities of color, LGBTQ immigrants, and refugees in the United States. This exhibition bolsters education with those populations in mind. This exhibition bolsters awareness of the disenfranchised communities of color, LGBTQ, immigrants, and refugees in the United States. It's hard, right? scrutiny. So like confront and bolster, I think scrutiny is a word that I want to know what it means. This exhibition scrutinizes feminism. This exhibition scrutinizes feminism. This exhibition scrutinizes queerness. This exhibition scrutinizes identity. This exhibition scrutinizes gender.
Can I say something?
Yeah,
I think you're doing everything.
thank you.
I think you're giving a check to everything that you're saying, basically, by just asking us a question.
I hope that's I wouldn't give myself that much credit, but I appreciate that a lot, I do.
You're confronting the yes or no, and the also I don't know, and I'm now being confronted. I'm now being, I have questions now.
Right, I would like to talk to you after, because that also helps me, so I appreciate that. I'm not gonna take a ton of time to do it right now, but I would love to talk more about why I don't think this is quite enough, but I do think, and like Randy said, performances and live conversation do make a difference, for sure. I appreciate that, thank you. This exhibition scrutinizes race. This exhibition scrutinizes social politics. This exhibition scrutinizes justice. I think that's hard to do. Okay, 2 really quick phases. Before we end, I want to give Arlette and Sylvia, if she's around, are there any questions that you want to shout out to the group that we can get a quick survey on? No? Okay. And to my participants, you guys, I really appreciate this and you playing this sort of game with me. Are there any questions that you would like to put out to the group? They kind of have to be yes or no, but we can do 2 or 3 if you want to shout some out so we can get a read of the group. You can talk about it. I didn't do this pop-up. I will pop up anywhere you want. I have a rate, but no, I would love to. Can pop-ups like this happen more often?
Yes.
Of course.
Yeah, well, you said ask them yes or no.
Oh, that's a question. I'm so sorry. So can we hold more pop-ups like this?
Yes.
Yes, we can. That's up to us, right? And you can do it in your living room, and that would really make a difference, which we've done with Arlette, which was a great show. Those are all the questions. I want to say thank you again. Hopefully we've gotten a little sense of who's here and how we feel about some of the issues that are brought up in the exhibition and how our perspectives are sort of aligned or misaligned with the exhibition description. I'm really excited, and what I will be doing is reviewing the tapes, and I've got my good friend Isabella here getting some audio, and I'm going to analyze this research. Arlette and Sylvie, thank you so much for being so willing to sort of double blind during this thing. And now I'm really excited to offer to you guys the limited time, and you guys being Arlette and Sylvie, so this is where the audience has shifted, I'm sorry. But I want to offer you guys the limited time opportunity to own this research. I'm going to analyze it. I'm going to put it on a CD. I'm going to give you video clips. I mean, some of you know I'm actually paid to do this work sometimes. I tell people, I consult them and what's going on with their audiences and their shows. So, for the limited time price of $5,000, you can own the research that I will produce. The only catch is, you got 4 days. It's a pop-up. It's a pop-up sale. This $5,000 is going to cover $100 for every participating artist and $500 for me for the research that I'm going to do. I want to thank you guys so much, and please enjoy the